this wasn't exactly planned, so I don't exactly have notes. But yeah, I've also been Redeemer from the first year. So I was their first anniversary, I think. And when we were like 15 people squeezing into Shruti and Akshay's living room. So a couple of things I wanted to share about what it's like to be a member at Redeemer. One of the things was, and when I was looking for a church 7 years ago, I had two things in mind. I wanted a church that was sound in doctrine, and I wanted a church that acted like a community. And yeah, Redeemer was definitely both of those things. So with regard to doctrine, I remember asking a lot of questions in the very beginning. I remember having a meeting with Akshay and Shruti, and asking a lot of questions about what does this church believe about this, and what does this church believe about that, and what are we going to do about this and that. And one thing was that at the time I started coming, we were doing a series from, I think it was 2 Corinthians, but it was, or Colossians. It was on the church anyway. A lot of stuff in that first few Sundays was about church and how a church should be and what a church was. So that was really helpful for me in understanding what these people thought about what a community should look like. But when I asked about what they believed, they were really clear about, that even the gospel, and this is what the Bible says, that this is the good news. But on a lot of small things of church practice, there seemed a lot more uncertainty. In the beginning, I was like, do these people know what they're doing? And as time went on, I found that was something that was really comforting to me, that the leadership of this church was okay with saying that there are things we don't know, or that there are things we aren't sure about, as well as that there are things that don't matter as much, and that there are things that different people in this church believe differently, and it's okay, we can still worship together. So that's one thing about doctrine, of what we hold on to and what we hold loosely. So that's something I've enjoyed as a member of this church. The other part about being a community, again, I think Redeemer has been, as Abby said, the trust circle and the small group. Abby and I are in the same trust circle now, but yeah, the trust circle has been amazing, especially in the last 2 years, and has been part of what the embodiment of what it means to be a family of God, and that's been there. One of the things, though, that is not just that the things I've gotten from the community in the church, the ways in which people have helped me and served me, and that is great, and it's been there, but also that there have been opportunities to serve. So I started coming when Redeemer was still meeting in the evenings, and I did it partly because I was still going to the church I used to go in the mornings in a different place. I meant to shift to South Delhi, and I was hunting churches. And I thought, let me start with this one because they're doing evenings. And I intended to try, 3, 4 other churches I had in mind. And I came to Redeemer one Sunday, and it was nice. And I came back the next Sunday, and people saw that I'd come for the second Sunday, and they thought, oh, she's interested. And I was playing with the kids, and someone walked up to me and said, hey, you look like you like kids. Would you like to help in our children's ministry? And it was kind of like, I'm still figuring out whether I want to come here or not. And you're these people. But that was really something that made me get involved. And I think that's really what built community for me as a member of this church, that they asked me to do things, to be part of, to pray for, to bake stuff for morning snacks, to help greet people. Whatever it was, little things, big things, that there was an opportunity to serve, and in that build community. But there was also the bit about community being people who were there for me. And community being a very diverse group of people. It was something that I really appreciated, that there were older singles in the church, which many churches didn't have. The church I came from before was great in a lot of ways, but it had people who were my age but not at my life stage, and the people who were at my life stage were like much younger, and it felt hard to, it felt like there was only a specific life, the way the pattern of life went. At Redeemer, it felt there were people who were in different patterns of life, in multiple ways, and that helped. I joined, when I came to Redeemer, I was, my husband had walked out on me, I was separated, I just filed for divorce, and I just quit my job. So I was jobless and on the verge of divorce, which is an awkward place to be in a new church. You don't explain these things to new people. But one of the things I really appreciated was that this church people were willing to listen, and they were willing to let you be. They didn't ask questions if you didn't want to be asked them, but they were there to listen. And because they did, I felt comfortable a couple of years later when I did get divorced, and I kind of wanted to mark that. I wanted to say that, you know, this has happened, and I want to thank God for his faithfulness in this time, and I want to thank him with the people who have stood with me through that. And I don't know if Andy remembers, but we sang that song, Sovereign Over Us. I basically got Andy to learn the music for the song to accompany me for that, and I sang it at that gathering with a lot of these people who were, because they'd been with me through that. And 7 years later, as I, prepared to build a new family in a way with an adopted daughter, these are the same people who've been there to pray with me through it and to celebrate with me at the end of it. So yeah, I am glad for this community, and I think it's a community that is there for you, and that wants you to be there as well. So yeah.